FX Nation, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. And guys, as we continue our Forex daily market maker setups, thank you guys for the feedback. I really appreciate it. So you guys seem to like the content. So that's awesome. So we'll go ahead and continue doing these daily market maker setups to bring more value to you guys on a daily basis. You can see what is actually out there, what are our traders actually taking as trades. Okay, real quick about the actual Q&A session that I want to have on a weekly basis. If you can do me a favor, guys, if you want to have that Q&A session on the comments of these videos here of the daily Forex, please put your questions that you would like answered. If you have a question that I haven't answered, and you want it answered, go ahead and drop it in the comments, and I'll start picking out questions to answer. I'll get to as many as possible. If I don't answer the question, it'll just be on to the following week. Okay, so if you guys want to see that that weekly Q&A, go ahead and definitely leave your question in the comments below. As always, guys, please like and share the video if it brings value to you, so we can get as many people out there exposed to this type of trading style. All right, so let's go ahead and without further ado, let's get today's daily market maker setups. So let's go ahead. We're going to start out with essentially Euro JPY. We had a couple traders take Euro JPY as a type 3 setup. Basically, you can see that we were starting from a peak formation low, and essentially we're going up one level here, and we get the type 3 setup. So right here you can see we get a type 3 setup right there, bouncing off the middle of the range, and then essentially also bouncing off of the 50 EMA. So very important that this particular trade was actually taken kind of late, during the London session. As you can see, that the entry candle here, after right here, this entry candle was pretty late into the session here. That one right there. So if you need help with entries or anything like that, if you have not checked out our playlist, go to our playlist. Trading with market makers. It literally has everything that you could want to know about the way that we trade, entries, exits, different types of setups. Everything is on that playlist. Okay, so if you're new to the channel, welcome. Go check out the playlist. It's got everything you want on it. All right, but this is a type 3 setup. Very nice from the middle of the range, and you can see we're basically, since we're going off a peak formation high, we're expecting a peak formation low, peak formation low into level 1. We're basically expecting a buy, and essentially we get the pattern, we get the timing, we know where we are in the cycle, and then there's the trade. Okay. I know that some of you guys want me to review more of gold. Guys, I'm only going to review the trades that our traders are actually taking. If we don't take any trades on gold, then I won't be reviewing it. So these are actual trades that our traders are actually taking. Okay, so that's what I'm bringing to you guys, so you can see like actual examples of real trades that our mentoring students are actually taking. All right, so very simple, guys. This went over 100 pips. Obviously, great risk to reward ratio on this particular trade. So very simple to understand, where you know where you are in the cycle, and yeah, it's pretty simple to understand this particular trade. Very easy to see, and these are the type of trades that essentially we teach you how to take. Okay, let's go take a look at another one here. So this was pound JPY, and the JPY trade setup that we had here was basically a New York session trade. You can see essentially that we get a multi-session W right here, and the entries here, and this is your trade right here. This trade may not look like a lot, but it actually went well over 60 pips on that particular trade. Okay, so easy trade to get 30 pips or more on. Obviously, the pattern is there. The timing is there because the second leg is inside of the box. Also, divergence as we're going down, and on the TDI, we're basically going up. Okay, so huge clue there. But again, the pattern is there. The timing aspect of it is there. We're pinning basically to yesterday's low as well. So these are all clues as far as, you know, taking the trade. You have pins to yesterday's low. You can see that basically this W here, when it was created, the second leg doesn't go exactly all the way down, right? So it's a rising W. Okay, the reason that they don't go all the way down here is because they already have all these traders trapped basically from this trade. If they go down here, then traders can exit the trade and profit or break even. All right, so that's why you see the W like it is. That's why you see the W like that. So it's not even, it's just barely. You can see it. You can see those wicks to the bottom there. So that was pound JPY. All right, let's take a look at Euro NZD to understand really what's going on with the NZD and Euro NZD, Euro AUD pairs. You have to go to a much higher time frame to really understand what's going on. All right, so clearly this thing has been going up for, it seems like, ever, right? On a 15-minute chart, you can see it's been going up, 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 non-stop. Okay, we try to get a trade down and it only goes up to the 50, like we tried several last week. So we're only getting trades basically down to the 50 and then back up, down to the 50, back up. Today we got a very nice clear type 1 setup. You can see here the first leg, second leg comes down, and then we go straight up, and then you basically hold that trade the entire way up. Now, to understand what's going on here, you got to go all the way back up. Just to make it very simple for you to understand, let's go to the weekly chart. Okay, now you can see basically on the weekly chart that we're basically approaching a very important level. So not only is it a very important level because of the number, so it's 1.8, so it's this area right here. So not only is this a psychological number for a lot of retail traders, but you can see also it's, you know, where the most recent price action has gone up to. What happens after, if it breaks this 1.8 area, I mean, you can see that it's got nothing but room to move. Okay, like if you look, like there's nothing there but open space. See all this open space here? There's literally nothing there but open space. So if you break that 1.8, which is also a psychological number for retail traders, I mean, you can see that you have nothing but open space. The only thing that you can really refer back to is like spots up here and possibly up here, but that's really it. You know, you have basically a clear path all the way up to like 2.6. I'm not saying that it's going to go up there, and really this is on a weekly chart, so I mean this could take, you know, years to go up there. But you can basically see essentially where we could be going long term, long period, just by looking at a weekly chart. Okay, so this is why it's essentially been moving up and up and up. If you really think about it, when you look at it on a 15-minute chart, what you're looking at essentially is this little piece here is literally what you're looking at. You're looking basically from like December, January, and in reality, more like, you know, January, the end of January, beginning of February, is where this really starts to take off from this level. Okay, but knowing that, it's very important to understand the higher time frame as well, because if you really think that this is going to come back down anytime soon, I mean, you got another thing coming. The only spot that we have at all that could stop this potentially is that 1.8 area, and that's it. Okay, and then you could basically, on a weekly level, you can basically come up to this point here and then just bounce off of it. All right, and then you're basically like what, in a range, So understand the higher time frame. It still matters a lot, because if you see a candle like this on the higher time frame, weekly chart, daily chart, I mean, listen, what you see on a 15-minute chart really doesn't matter at that point. This is going to overpower anything. All right, so just understand that little aspect of what's going on with the euro NZD and why it's been going up for 4 or 5 weeks in a row. All right, so we still got the clear setup though. That's all that matters. As you can see, we're basically approaching the previous week's high, which is right here, very close to the middle of the range. So you can see why essentially it struggled here for a good 2 to 4 hours until we got to deep into the 10 o'clock, 10:30 into the U.S. session, and we moved up another bit. Okay, but that was the trade on Euro NZD. Euro AUD is, I want to bring this up because I want you guys to pay attention to this right here as well. Is these two pairs run very similar to each other. So what one pair does, typically the other follows in suit. Large part of it has to do with the fact that they both trade in the same session, being the Australian session that starts right at 5 o'clock. So that's why a lot of times you'll see that NZD AUD pairs, whether it be the pound AUD, pound NZD, or the Euro NZD, Euro AUD, you'll always have blown out ranges well over 50 pips, or more than likely 70 to 100 pip Asian ranges. But I'm going to bring this up here side by side so you can see what I'm talking about, and I want you to take a look at the two different setups. Right, so as you're looking for your trade setups, whether it's on 2 different pairs, 4 different pairs that you're watching, pay attention to the setup itself, right? Because what you want to do is, if you have multiple pairs that you're looking at, you're really specifically looking for the best possible setup. Okay, so just because pound USD is doing a setup doesn't mean that necessarily pound CAD is doing the same setup, right? So keep that in mind. You can see that the better setup visually, the better setup happened on Euro NZD. You can clearly see a first leg, clearly see a second leg. Okay, on Euro AUD, some of you guys may be thinking like this may be a first leg, this may be a second leg, something like that. But this jumps out basically right at the beginning of the U.S. session. Yes, it pins to yesterday's previous day's high. So that's a great sign there, but that's only one aspect of it. You really don't get a clear, let's say, W pattern here, unless you're counting like, let's say, something like this, which is this one here and then this little bit coming down. So the best and clear setup on this was Euro NZD. First leg, second leg here, and then boom, you got a nice big move there, well over 100 pips. All right, so just be aware of that, guys, when you're looking at these pairs and you're trying to determine what pairs should you trade. You really want to trade the pairs that show you the better setup. Okay, you're not here to trade 20 pairs at one time. While you're trying to trade 20 pairs, I'm just trying to find 2 or 3 pairs, and out of those 2 or 3 pairs, I'm trying to find the best setup out of all of them. So another good example of that would have been on, let's say, pound USD and pound CAD, I believe. Let me see. You can see that on pound USD, you had basically a setup at the later part of the US session. Okay, right here. On pound CAD, you had basically a nice little setup here during the London session. The problem with it is that, you know, the entry here is way too far from where you would, you know, where you put your stop loss, basically, right? It's a 60 pip from the bottom. You're too far in to take that trade. Now, if you want to take that trade all the way down here at the very bottom, that's up to you. That's not how we trade. Okay, because we're not just looking for every W and M that we can trade. That's not how we do it. But just to give you some examples of what we're actually trading and what we actually look for, that our students are learning to look for. Just keep that in mind, guys, that when you have a bunch of pairs, you're trying to basically isolate the best possible setups that you can find at that time. And it's perfectly fine if the pairs that you're watching don't give you a setup, because you're not going to have a setup every single day on the specific pairs that you watch. So if you're just watching, let's say, pound USD, and that's like the only one that you watch, you're not going to have a setup, an ideal setup every single day on pound USD. Okay, now if you're watching, you know, pound USD, pound Swiss, pound NZD, Euro AUD, then obviously you're more likely to find at least one good setup out of all those pairs, you know. All right, guys, so I hope that you enjoyed today's video. Guys, again, if you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe if you're new. Check out our playlist, Trading with Market Makers. It helps to break down all the different aspects of how we trade. And again, if you need more help, guys, we do have a mentoring class that starts March 30th. There's less than 5 spots left available for that mentoring class, guys. Thank you so much, and we'll see you tomorrow.